1 Kings chapter 3, Solomon's rule consolidated. Now Solomon became a son-in-law to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and formed an alliance by taking Pharaoh's daughter in marriage. He brought her to the city of David, where she remained temporarily until he had finished building his own house and palace in the house of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. But in the meantime, the people were still sacrificing to God in the high places, as the pagans did to their high idols, for there was no permanent house yet built for the name of the Lord. Now Solomon loved the Lord, walking at first in the statutes of David his father, except for the fact that he sacrificed and burned incense in the high places, ignoring the law that required all sacrifice to be offered at the tabernacle. The king went to Gibeon near Jerusalem, where the tabernacle and the bronze altar stood, to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on the altar. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream at night, and God asked, "Ask me what I shall give to you." Solomon's prayer. Then Solomon said, "You have shown your servant David, my father, great loving kindness, because he walked before you in faithfulness and righteousness and with uprightness of heart towards you. And you have kept for him this great loving kindness, in that you have given him a son to sit on his throne as it is today." Isn't it interesting? You're reading that, and when it says because my father walked in faithfulness and righteousness and with uprightness of heart. And like, as a natural fleshy person, you look at it and you're like, David did not. David did an awful lot of sinning. Didn't he have Bathsheba, saw her and then had her husband killed, and just, you see that and you're like, you want to get revenge, right? Now, you don't want to get revenge, but you don't understand the forgiveness and the grace of God. And that's where, it's like when you read that, you're like, oh, it's like they just forget all that. And it's like, but thank God, God forgets all that for us. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. It says, "So now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of David my father, and as for me, I am but a little boy. In wisdom and experience, I do not know how to go or come in, that is, how to conduct business as a king. Your servant is among your people, whom you chose, a great people who are too many to be numbered or counted. So give your servant an understanding mind and a hearing heart with which to judge your people, so that I may discern between good and evil. For you, who is able to judge and rule this great people of yours." That's a great prayer to pray. God's answer. "Now it pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. God said to him, because you have asked, and have not asked for yourself a long life, nor for wealth, nor for the lives of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to recognize justice, behold, I have done as you ask. I have given you a wise and discerning heart, so that no one before you was your equal, nor shall anyone equal to you rise after you. I have also given you what you have not asked, both wealth and honor, so there will not be anyone equal to you among the kings for all your days. If you walk in my ways, keeping my statutes, my commandments, as your father David did, then I will lengthen your days." Then Solomon awoke, and he realized it was a dream. He came back to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. He offered burnt offerings and a peace offering, and he prepared a feast for all his servants. And it says here at the bottom, obedience, because he loved God above all of this at time of his life, and chose wisdom and discernment for his office. Solomon received even more riches and honor and distinction. Obedient in many ways, he was accordingly blessed by God. When commands are given by a loving, caring person, obedience must result in blessing. God repeatedly stated this principle. Saul, David, and Solomon all lost blessing because of disobedience. This was not because of narrowness or rigidity on God's part. He does not give us commands to make our lives harder or to be harsh and demanding. His commands have blessing built in. He is showing us the best way to live, which is so true. Sometimes you think when you become a Christian, you got to give up things. You have to live in this little structured thing, but they're meant to bring you blessings in your life. And if you are obedient, you walk in those ways, you will see the fruit of that labor. Beautiful. All right, Solomon wisely judges. Then 2 women who were prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. And the one woman said, "Oh, my lord, the woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a child while she was in the house. And on the 3rd day after I gave birth, the woman also gave birth. And we were alone together. No one else was with us in the house, just we 2. Now this woman's son died during the night because she lay on him and smothered him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from his place beside me while your maidservant was asleep, and laid him on her bosom and laid her dead son next to me. When I got up in the morning to nurse my son, behold, he was dead. But when I examined him carefully in the morning, behold, he was not my son, the one whom I had born." And the other woman said, "No, for my son is the one who is living, and yours is the dead one." But the first woman said, "No, your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one." This is how they were speaking before the king. And the king said, "This woman says, this is my son, and this one says, he's alive, and your son is the dead one." And they're going back and forth fighting. The king says, "Bring me a sword." So they brought him a sword. And the king said, "Cut the living child in 2, and give half to one woman and one half to the other one." I remember the story vividly from reading it before. Then the woman whose child was living spoke to the king and said, "Oh, my lord, give her the living child, and by no means kill him." But the other said, "He shall be neither mine nor yours. Cut him." Then the king said, "Give the first woman who was pleading for his life the living child, and by no means kill him. She is the mother." When all the people of Israel heard about the judgment which the king had made, they were in awe and reverently feared the king, for they saw that wisdom of God was with him in administering justice. All right, keep reading along. I'll see you tomorrow.